Creatine does not work. Well, at least that's how a lot of people feel after taking it. And if that's you, then we might finally understand why that is. Let's talk about it. Everyone from various experts, influencers, your friends, your enemies, your mom, your dogs love to tell you how great creatine is. And the fact is, they are essentially right, since creatine is one of the most researched supplements that has consistently shown effective fitness benefits. Yet, when you or someone else say that creatine doesn't do anything for them, that's probably true. Despite its amazing benefits, the research also clearly shows that some people experience little to no benefit from taking creatine. These people are known as creatine non-responders, and based on some datasets, they can make up as much as 30% of all people taking creatine. Now, there are reasons proposed in the past for the existence of non-responders. One has to do with a person's muscle fiber composition. Having more type 1 slow twitch fibers might benefit less from creatine than having more type 2 fast twitch fibers. Another has to do with a person's diet, where they might already get enough creatine from the food they eat, especially creatine-rich sources like meats. But there's also one potential explanation that never really got much attention until now. You probably guessed it. Based on the proposition of a recent study, it has to do with your genetics. Let's take a look. The goal of this study was to measure creatine's impact on different training outcomes within a group of 161 professional soccer or football players. During the intervention, the athletes were training in various types of exercises that involve strength, endurance, and skill-based drills. These athletes, of course, supplemented creatine and nothing else for about 8 weeks, using a fairly standard protocol of loading 20 grams a day for 5 days, then 3 to 5 grams a day for 7 weeks. As far as the genetic component, 6 different polymorphisms or genetic variations were genotyped for each athlete. These genetic variations were specifically selected for their association with power output and strength in ways that mechanistically can be influenced by creatine supplementation. Based on their genetic assessment, each athlete was given a total genotype score. The higher their score, the more they supposedly should benefit from the known effects of creatine supplementation. And when we look at the results, there might very well be something to it. After 8 weeks, athletes that saw significant gains in muscle mass did tend to have higher genotype scores. More specifically, an increase in muscle mass was strongly associated with having more favorable genotype scores for 2 specific genes, ACE and AMPD1. BMI also increased with higher genotype scores, while fat mass saw no strong relationship. Also, lower genotype scores were more strongly associated with sustaining more injuries. Now, before we jump into any conclusions, let's make sure we fully understand what this study is showing. Yes, there was an association based on genetics. However, it's hard to definitively say how much of a role creatine really played, because this study really only scratches the surface in terms of evidence. Unfortunately, this isn't a randomized controlled trial with any type of blinding. Instead, all athletes were simply given creatine, went on their way with their usual training, and various outcomes were measured before and after. So we can't rule out potential biases or really attribute outcomes directly to either creatine or certain genetics. And we also recognize creatine primarily as a performance-enhancing supplement, yet the study only really looked at body composition. So there's still a lot of questions needing answers. However, something I always like to say about research like this is that it's still always great to have studies that simply open the door to more discussions about topics that need more attention. And this study does just that for the topic of creatine non-responders. In the end, we just want to make the most informed decisions with our supplement purchases. Sure, not everyone can easily test their genetics, nor am I saying we should, but at least it will help us temper a bit of our expectations. That said, if future research follows a similar pattern as this study, then we can say genetics may very well play a role in the benefits of creatine. For now though, we definitely want to wait for more research, and when that does happen, make sure you come back, because I'll be sure to cover that as well. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a supplemental thumbs up and share it with your creatine-loving friends. Subscribe for more and let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to get your protein.